Hey, Autumn Athletes, Larry Sorensen here. Today, I'm going to have a chat with David Dadian and find out what makes him an Autumn athlete that's not done yet. Before we get started, as always, if you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and ding that bell for notifications. All right, David, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate you taking the time. Why don't you start us off with a little introduction of yourself?
Thanks for having me. I'm David Dadian. I'm 65 years old, 5'8", 155 pounds or so. My hometowns, I have two, North Bergen, New Jersey, and Hawthorne, New Jersey. Moved out of North Bergen in my freshman year of high school, out to a farming kind of area in Hawthorne. I'm married, wife, son, stepdaughter, three wonderful sisters. And I'm the founder and owner of Power Solution, which is a IT and cybersecurity managed services company.
All right. Well, great to meet you. Fill us in a little bit on your athletic history.
So I've always been active athletically. Growing up, I played all sorts of sports, tried everything, baseball, basketball, football. Always enjoyed being outdoors. My dad was a hunter, so I would be out in the great outdoors, being active. In later years, as I was moving through high school, I had two focuses, football and hockey, but I opted for hockey when I moved to Hawthorne. Hawthorne actually was putting together a hockey team. So I thought it was great. I didn't have to play organized league hockey. I could play for my high school, which was fantastic. And then later on in life, moving out up into my 20s and 30s, I became very active in mountain biking. So I was an avid mountain biker, would ride 3, 4, 5 nights or days a week when I could. I think the best thing about it was I just enjoyed being outdoors, mountain biking, hiking when I had to. If we had to carry and portage our bikes, we did. So always athletic, always involved in hockey. Even if I wasn't playing, I was coaching and giving lessons. So skating lessons, hockey lessons, whatever. I ran clinics for a long time, which was fantastic.
Tell us a little bit about this mountain biking, and I know you've had some crashes. So have you had any major issues during that time?
As you know, mountain biking can be tricky. Out here in the Northeast, we ride a lot of rock, ride a lot of technical. So we're not blazing through the trails crazily, but we are riding technical stuff. And the group that I used to ride with, we would ride all sorts of rock drops and hop ups and whatnot. And it was the individual who rode it and cleaned it, they could name it. They could name that particular obstacle. So for probably about a 3-week period, there was this one drop that was very technical. It was very hard to do. I had broken away from the pack. As I was coming down the one side of the trail, setting my bike up for the drop, I said, all right, this is it. It's just me and you, Lord. We're going to make this. And I cleaned it. I turn around and I look and no one's there. You clean it, they don't see it, it's not cleaned. So the group piles up, we're riding. I said, hey, I cleaned this thing. So I go, oh, we got to do it again. So tried it again, didn't clean it. Third time was not a charm. I go to clean this thing and I have to bail. I put my left foot, I unclip my left foot from my pedal and I get it on a rock that's slanted at about 40 degrees. I roll over on my ankle. I shake it off. I ride, but I'm hurt. A week later, I'm still icing it and doing it. My blood vessels are all busted up on the back of my leg. And I said, well, I might have to go to a doctor. And I don't like doctors. So I walk into a sports orthopedist and he says to me, your ankle's broken. And I said, it's not broken. I said, if it was broken, I wouldn't be walking on it. I drove over here. I have a stick shift. I drove over here. He says, so you're the doctor now? Okay. Long story short, 3 breaks in the metatarsals, a fracture of one part of my ankle just above the ankle. And so boot for 6 weeks, can't do much of anything. The biggest hurdle there was that was about 2.5 months before we were going to Utah to ride Moab for the second time. So I had to heal and get back on my bike and get back into shape for Moab, which I did. It was fun. So that's my one horror story. There's a few more, but as everybody has, but that was the one where I broke something.
Did you have any folks or things that motivated you along the way to keep going with athletics?
So I love reading. I remember reading Jerry Kramer's book. I was still a good Green Bay Packers fan. I like to get out there and get to Lambeau every so often. So I read that book and it was really inspirational. It just drove me. And then in terms of other athletes, there's a mix. You have your baseball players that you grow up, I don't want to say idolizing, but really looking at and appreciating their skill. Same with the football players, Bart Starr, Mickey Mantle, all of those guys were inspirational. My dad was inspirational in the fact that for a small guy, he was a tough guy, and he always showed the perseverance and persistence that is required when you're an athlete. When you don't think you can make that next step, or if you're riding your mountain bike and you got that climb and you got to push it, you just got to keep pushing the limit. And my dad always said, if you push the limit, you'll find that the limit keeps moving. Every time you push it, it'll just keep moving out a little further, and you just have to reach for it. So that's pretty much it on motivation. In hockey, it was many of the great players, and I was never a Ranger fan. Grew up a Boston Bruin fan, so Bobby Orr was it for me as a defenseman, and I played defense on and off. Because of hockey, I watched a lot of the Russian players develop. In high school, I changed my number from 4, which was Bobby Orr, to 17, which was Valery Kharlamov, which was just an amazing talent for the Soviet Red Army team.
Fill us in on what you would consider to be some of your highlights or achievements or just favorite moments in your athletic career.
Played throughout high school, played through on a tournament team, which was just awesome. We had a great group of guys out of Long Island that came onto the team. Traveling out to Long Island for practices was a bit of a pain, but that was probably that and coaching at the high school level were probably my 2 most favorite times in my career, in my late 20s up into my mid to late 30s. And the tournament hockey was just so much fun. A quick story, we had gone up to a tournament in Montreal, and we were playing pretty close to we just hit our stride, and we were pretty much at the top of our game. And we were cleaning up teams from Canada that were the entry guys coming in from Canada, from Toronto, from Montreal, Quebec. And we were holding our own and beating them. And then we wind up playing this team from Philadelphia that just destroyed us. But the most amazing thing was in this tournament, and this was the first time that we ever played a women's team, right? So this is the first time. So there was a women's team in this tournament that came in, and apparently they were watching many of our games because we were in the same grouping, so they knew we were going to catch each other somewhere. I come off the ice, and this girl says to me, she says, "Man," she says, "you got a great set of wheels. I'm going to enjoy playing against you and whatnot." So I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And I said, "I look forward to it." So I get in the locker room, jump in the shower, get out of the shower. And this facility had dining facilities. There were 4 sheets of glass on it, or ice. And so I get up into the dining room, and it's all closed circuit TV, so you can watch all the games, and you can sit and watch the game you want off the 4 sheets. So I see them out there, and I'm watching this game, and I'm watching these girls play, and I go back to the group and I go, "Guys, we don't want to get them in the draw later. So they're going to destroy us." They were that good. They really were that good. And it was fun. We played them. It was a great game. They did beat us by 1 goal. But it was great. It was a fun time. So that's on the hockey side of things. Coaching, I loved coaching. I got involved in coaching high school. I coached at two Catholic high schools, Bergen Catholic here in Paramus, New Jersey, and the DePaul Catholic at Wayne Hill in Wayne. I also coached public. I coached at Wayne Hills as well. And then I think and all of those teams were inspirational. We had state runs. We didn't win, but we had state runs. Just a little something. Many of the players that I coach still are in touch with me today. And I just recently, a week and a half ago, I played in a celebrity hockey shinny game down in Prudential Center on Team Danico, Kenny Danico's team, with Colin White and a few other Devils alumni. And we're out on the ice in warm-ups, and I see this girl on the other bench, on the opposing team's bench, putting up her hair. And I skate over to her and I look at her. I go, "Hey, Sarah." And she looks at me. She goes, "Oh my God, coach." So it was a great moment. It was a great, like, kind of reunion. Mm-hmm. And I did let her know that she couldn't show up her coach, too much, or take it easy on me. But it was great. It was great fun. She's an excellent player. She was a great player in high school. Had some injuries later on. Worked through them. Played on a U.S. National women's team, and then went into Europe and played for Norway in Europe. So she's a good player, good young lady, and a great young lady. I mean, unbelievable.
Just tell us a little bit about your involvement in hockey, especially as a senior, and fill us in a little bit about the senior game in general.
I hadn't played for a number of years. When I was coaching, I stopped playing. I was on the ice 4 or 5 nights a week. It was giving me my fill of the game, so to speak, but I wasn't playing competitively. The last team that I coached was a field club team, which when I came in to coach them, they were 3-23, or 3-20, I'm sorry. And when I left the next year, they were 23-3, 23-3. They added 3 more games. We lost 3 games. We won a tournament and whatnot. At the end of that tournament, a couple of the kids that I was coaching, they were like, "Coach, you should really start playing again." I'm like, maybe a little old for that at this point. But I took a little time to think about it. And then I had hired an individual who was playing for a local college. And he said to me, he said, I've seen you skate. He said, you could skate with these guys. Why don't you come out and, just play some pickup? I went out, threw on the equipment for the first time, full equipment, played some pickup, and I had a blast. It just brought back a flood of everything for me.
And what age were you at that point when you did that?
53, I think, 53 or 54. After his college career, he got involved in a men's league. Now he's younger. He's in his 20s. Well, at that time, he was in his late 20s, early 30s. So I said, "Jesus, I'm going to be skating with 30-somethings at 50-something years old." He says, "Look," he goes, you'll see. Just give it a try." So there's a big rink locally. We have many rinks in New Jersey. This is a little bit older facility, but it's 4 sheets of ice down there. He says, "Come on down. Just come on down, fill in, sub for a game or 2, and see what you think." So the biggest adjustment is that at these adult leagues, these house adult leagues, there's what they call incidental contact. You can't check anybody, so you're not throwing your body around, and that's a big part of the game, is getting in front of people and separating them from the puck. So that was a big adjustment for me, because I've been playing checking hockey pretty much all my life. First game, I come in, guys coming down, I step up into them and knock them down. They're like, "Penalty," and I'm like, "Oh shoot, non-check." So big adjustment. Since then, I've transitioned. You're allowed to get a body on it if you're going for the puck. You can lean into someone, but you're not going out there and blasting people or getting blasted, which is equally as nice, when you have to go to work the next day and whatnot. So I started playing, and it turns out that I started playing on a couple of different teams. I found a team that I like, great group of guys, and we just started to gel. And the beauty of it was that at the point that I came on, there was one individual that was older than me. So he and I kept saying we were the grandfathers of the team. Now, myself and my team captain, we're the two oldest. We're both 65. We're the oldest guys on the team. And that, you know, mid-late 30s is the average age of our team. And we're still hanging with them. We're still skating, and we're the grandfathers. And it's fun because we can impart some experience to them. And, you know, when there's a situation or we're on the bench, we come off the ice, we remind them, you know, 22-year-old legs, 65-year-old legs. You know, get out there, do your thing.
Are there any other rules like slap shot rules or anything like that with the leagues that you play in?
No, in our league, yeah, everybody's fully padded, so you can take slap shots, wrist shots, whatever you like. You know, the biggest rule change is no checking, you know, incidental body contact.
Yeah.
And there are still some hits out there. People just try to occupy the same space on the ice, and it happens. But it's rare. Most of the guys in the league all know each other after playing in this league for so long, and you move up a division, you move down a division, depending on how you finish out your year. And we're all sort of friends. So at the end of the night, you know, in the summer leagues and the spring summer leagues, you'll find the guys out on, you know, back on their pickups with the tails down, and, you know, have a couple of beers and shoot the crap out there while, you know, after the game, talk about the game and talk about life in general. So it's all good. I think many of the individuals realize we're not playing NHL hockey. We're not playing for a cup. Yeah, there's a championship at the end of the year. Yes, it's nice to have your photo up there and win the championship. But, you know, and we've done so a couple of times, and we've lost a couple of times. I said, no matter, you know, win, lose, or draw, I just go out and have a great time. Last night was such a fantastic game. It was just a good, close game. We were down 4-0. We climbed back into it. We lost 6-5. Okay. But it was fun.
Do you do anything off the ice to keep yourself in condition so that you can perform on the ice?
You know, I'm not a big runner. I don't go out and run. I do a lot of physical work around the house, so that keeps me in shape. But, you know, typically it's my uncle was great with this. He said, you know, you don't have to pump iron and, you know, go crazy. He says, sit-ups, push-ups, you do those every day, you'll stay in shape. You keep your core strong, you keep your arms strong, and that's pretty much it. So I'll do sit-ups and push-ups. I have a routine. I did buy one of those gorilla bows, and I use that, and that's pretty interesting resistance training. But that's about it. That's the extent of it. Skating 2 nights a week really keeps me fit. The amount of energy you expend skating, and, you know, you're going out on a 45 to a minute, maybe a minute, 10-second shift. So the idea is when you come over the boards, you're just going full bore for that period of time. And then you're spinning around and getting off the ice and let the next group get on. So it keeps a flow of the game. So you're really getting a workout by doing that.
It's kind of almost like doing interval training on the track, a lot of anaerobic intervals with rest periods in between. So yeah, you're getting a good workout, that's for sure. Do you do anything in particular for a diet and nutrition standpoint to keep yourself healthy and fit?
I was very fortunate. You know, I grew up on a Middle Eastern diet. I'm Armenian. I had Armenian grandparents, Syrian. I had Syrian grandparents. And I grew up on all of that food. I didn't know what a hamburger was until I was like 14. I was like, we didn't eat that sort of thing, like no McDonald's, no fast food. So I've always eaten healthy, and I try to maintain that, and I eat healthy. So nothing special in the diet, just balanced. You know, I'm also a firm believer in an apple a day. I usually have a couple of pieces of fruit during the day: banana, apple, peaches, pears when they're in season, strawberries. But mostly, you know, I'm good for an apple a day. That's my mid-afternoon break. I'll grab an apple.
What keeps you motivated to stay active, fit, and healthy and play hockey?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, I lost one of my best childhood friends prior to 50, and that kind of hurt me, and it woke me up, understanding that, you know, there's no guarantee about tomorrow here. So what keeps me motivated, though, is a A couple of things. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy being in shape. I enjoy skating against 30 somethings, and then they'll chirp at me and I'll say, yeah, well, when I was your age, you wouldn't have seen me on that last play. All right. And then when they find out how old I am, they're like, holy crap, I hope I can play at that level when I'm your age. I think my newest motivation though is I just found this out, Larry, that there is a USA national men's team for 80 and over. So you have to be 80 and over to get on this team. So I've made a commitment, and I've said, my goal is to get a tryout for this team when I'm 80. So that's a motivating factor.
So David, if you had to bottle it, what would you say is your secret sauce to health and fitness?
Being active is the most important thing. Like the commercial, the body in motion stays in motion. That's pretty much the secret sauce. Enjoying life. You're here. It's a roller coaster ride. You get on that roller coaster. They pull a lever and you're going. A lot of people get caught up in too much minutia and they don't really enjoy life. So I like to travel, like to read, but it's really about staying active as I can. If I'm sitting around, for a period of time and my body's not moving, I kind of get wonky.
David, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time to tell us what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. I'd like to close up here with just getting some final thoughts from you.
Final thoughts. Well, hockey is a great game. Most sports are. I think children and youth being involved in sports keeps them out of trouble, keeps them busy, teaches them responsibility and accountability. My love of hockey has never, ever waned. I've been doing it, playing organized hockey since I was 8 or 9. And yes, I had breaks from playing, but the heart of it is always there. There's a feeling that I get when I'm on the ice, a connection to the ice that I can't explain. I tried to explain it to other people. And I'll say this, hockey is the only sport that under human power can you get angles of attack on a surface, and consistently, sometimes you lose an edge and you might go down, but you can't get you can't get that in football. You can't get that in basketball or baseball, because you're not on the ice. You're not skating at 15, 20, 30 miles an hour and catching those angles and making those turns and having fun.
Well, there you have it, folks. David Dadian. He is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, and train hard to achieve them. See you next time, everybody.
Take care.